I would call it a behind the back box doll. If this is your box doll in front, it's basically the same thing, only you're doing it side plane behind the back. Oof. But just do better than me, like I said. Normally, when I have you do the U stalls on your side plane, I have you do it like this, right? In this case, your palm's opening to the side, but your hand is way out there. In order to actually make the physics of this work, with my physiology at least, what you do is you don't open the hand at the bottom, and you scoop up like this, and then you yank it back down to come up over the top. And then you have to yank it back down just like you would with any other up stall to get it to work. Look, I feel like the physiology on this is super awkward. This may be different in your physiology. In my shoulder, there's a rotation that's happening. If you imagine this part of your bone pushing forward, right? So this part of your bone is pushing this way. And then as you do that, your palm is rotated. So it's almost like, you know, like Walk Like an Egyptian, where they had this thing that you're doing? You're doing that sort of like weird Z down there to push it up. That's, for me, that's the physiology that sort of makes it work. But you also have to be able to rotate the shoulder so that you can pull back down and yank it so that you can get it back into underhand to do the drop stall, which is of course the easier part because you're working with gravity. So one way to think about it is you're doing a little mini isolation on the bottom to get it up. And then as it's getting up, you have to pull it back down before it collapses either way, either onto your shoulder or behind you. Right now your hand is kind of long. Bend the elbow a little bit more so that you can do it like a lever, and use the elbow as a lever to push up and pull it back. So you're using your shoulder and your elbow to lever it up. Zhunk, pull, zhunk, pull. It's almost like you're doing a tricep exercise and you're trying to almost get your tricep parallel to the ground. I also recommend, so that you practice it, that you just keep doing the drop stall with it, because you are isolating the drop stall also. And in some ways, now if you watch me from the front, this might be useful. If you let your hand come out a little bit further from your midline, it might help with the motion. That might or might not be easier. Explore what works with your body. I've been practicing this kind of thing. I am doing what it would be with the hands, right? But I'm trying to show you from the front so that you can see this rotation in the shoulder for the one that's doing the up stall. And then also using the elbow to direct the drop stall behind you. This is my weaker hand, which is probably evident from the stalls. My ups are not as up. past, everything that I told you to do these stalls is completely opposite. You're totally opening your shoulder. This is exactly the opposite. You're crunching your shoulder and you're rotating. And then instead of having your palm out, this palm up thing is just awkward. You might be getting it up in this dimension, but it might be, I'm going to intentionally make this crooked. It might be like that, even though you're going up. It might be crossing the midline of your body. It might be doing that rather than that. So there's multiple dimensions that you have to worry about it in, depending on how you're going to perform it also. This to this, I would think you would perform this way, not that way. And then when you're coming over the top, one thing that can help tighten that one up when you're doing the drop stall over the shoulder, imagine you have an apple right here on your shoulder and you're aiming the poi head for the apple, as opposed to like that, dropping over your head. I think the reason it feels so much easier to go over the shoulder like that is because you're working with gravity and it's stopping. Like you'll notice like there is, oh, I can just go and there is no stop. You get to a 0 point when you're going up, but you can't actually stop. So I don't think it can feel quite as complete a motion. But if I had to imagine what I think the equivalent should be, caveat, I am not certain this is true, I would imagine it is as the poi is coming through here, coming up from the bottom, aiming for the apple here, and hooking in a sharp hook that is equally sharp as the hook here, and using the isolation to slow it down, and then you have to speed it up again to get it up behind you. I'm not sure it works as well, because I think you need to push up more than you need to push down.